Hey, what is going on, YouTube? What's going on, everybody, man? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in with me. It always means a lot to me. I know I say it a lot, but I say it because I mean it. And it's that you guys get to choose where you direct your time for your day. And it just, I don't know, man. It humbles me that so many of you choose to come right here and spend some time with me. Many of you on a daily basis, many of you more than once a day. Humbles me so much. Thank you. Our time is precious and it is valuable to me that you guys choose to be here. So thank you so much for that. First and foremost, I don't know why. I just want to say that right now. So thank you guys. Really means a lot. So we're here with a first time reaction on this channel to Mr. Don McLean. Okay, I've heard the name before. The song American Pie. I can think of the jingle in my head. Something American Pie. something. So I know I've heard that part, you know, the little jingle, the chorus, if you will, before. Like many songs on this channel, couldn't tell you the first thing about what he's saying, can't even finish the chorus. I don't know the verse, I don't know what he's saying. But of course, I know the jingle, I know the American Pie. So I'm excited. Let's go ahead and see what's up, man. Let's see what I've been missing out on right here with Don McLean. Didn't even know the artist's name. I just know many of you have suggested this recently here on this channel in the comment sections. I've been seeing Don McLean, different songs, but I saw American Pie. I'm like, yeah, let me round that out, man. Let me get an understanding of American Pie. What are we talking about here? Because in my day and age, right, when I was growing up, American Pie was a movie, and it's a very obscene, vulgar comedy. One that I thought was funny as a teenager. I don't know if I could watch it now and enjoy it the way I did when I was a teenager, just because as a teenager, you're usually way more immature than you are later in life. I'm sure I would find some of it funny, but not nearly as funny as I thought it was when I was a teenager. But that was the American Pie I was familiar with. So let's see what this American Pie is right here, guys. I got a lyric video to hopefully watch. I'm going to probably try to steer clear of some of the Vivos because those get copy striked all the time, and they're really hard to upload without editing. Not many people get upset with the editing, but I know I can understand why it's not the most pleasing. So let's go ahead and get into this one. Don McLean, American Pie, guys. Here we go.
A long, long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile. And I knew if I had my chance that I could make those people dance, and maybe they'd be happy for a while. But February made me shiver with every paper I deliver. Bad news on the doorstep, I couldn't take one more step. I can't remember if I cried when I read about his widowed bride, but something touched me deep inside the day the music died.
Got a very unique voice. I haven't heard anybody quite like this.
So bye-bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die.
The acoustic piano.
The day that I die.
Fantastic.
Did you write the book of love, and do you have faith in God above? If the Bible tells you so. Do you believe in rock and roll? Can music save your mortal soul? And can you teach me how to dance real slow? Well, I know that you're in love with him, 'cause I saw you dancing in the gym. You both kicked off your shoes. Man, I dig those rhythm and blues. I was a lonely teenage bronc and buck with a pink carnation and a pickup truck, but I knew I was out of luck the day the music died. I started singing bye-bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee day that I die. This'll be the day that I die.
I'm trying to connect the dots on the lyrics here.
Now for 10 years we've been on our own, and moss grows fat on a rolling stone. But that's not how it used to be. When the jester sang for the king and queen in a coat he borrowed from James Dean, and a voice that came from you and me.
Bass in here too now.
Oh, and while the king was looking down, the jester stole his thorny crown. The courtroom was adjourned. No verdict was returned. And while Lenin read a book on Marx, the quartet practiced in the park, and we sang dirges in the dark. The day the music died.
And there's definitely some deep meanings right here.
Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, and singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die.
Dang, they're hitting you with everything.
Helter skelter in the summer swelter.
Some
The
Beatles,
birds flew off with a fallout shelter. 8 miles high and falling fast.
8 miles high.
The land and foul on the grass. The players tried for a forward pass, with the jester on the sidelines in a cast. Now the halftime air was sweet perfume, while the sergeants played a marching tune. We all got up to dance. Oh, but we never got the chance, 'cause the players tried to take the field. The marching band refused to yield. Do you recall what was revealed the day the music died?
Man.
We started singing, bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, and singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die. Oh, and there we were all in one place, a generation lost in space, with no time left to start again. So come on, Jack, be nimble, Jack, be quick. Jack Flash sat on a candlestick, 'cause fire is the devil's only friend. Oh, and as I watched him on the stage, my hands were clenched in fists of rage. No angel born in hell could break that Satan's spell.
This is a deep song.
And as the flames climbed high into the night to light the sacrificial rite, I saw Satan laughing with delight. The day the music died.
Man, he is riding.
He was singing, bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, and singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die. I met a girl who sang the blues, and I asked her for some happy news, but she just smiled and turned away. I went down to the sacred store, where I'd heard the music years before, but the man there said the music wouldn't play.
I like how open this word music is. I
In
mean,
the streets the children screamed, the lovers cried and the poets dreamed, but not a word was spoken. The church bells all were broken, and the 3 men I admire most, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, they caught the last train for the coast. The day the music died.
everyone everyone's abandoning.
And they were singing, bye bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die.
I can't wait to dive into this one, like dig into
This'll
it.
be the day that I die. They were singing, bye bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die.
Man, that was a super fast, almost 9 minutes. That flew by. Don McLean, first of all, I love his voice, man. It's dude, it's like I've heard his voice before, not through him, not through him, but almost like through a friend. It's like I've had a friend with that voice, like just I'm talking from talking, but he's singing with that voice. And it's like that voice sounds so familiar. Um, it's just nice. It's so nice. It's a friendly voice. So first of all, love his voice, man. Very friendly, very inviting voice. Non-confrontational, if that makes sense. It's just somebody soothing, somebody to talk to, very friendly. But with the song, the day that the music died, I can't wait to dive into this one a little bit deeper because I'm like, music is to me, he's not talking about literal music. He's talking about something deeper, man, an emotion or happiness, the joy of life, or maybe a moment that struck in time, something that changed the way the world was going to be forever. The day the music died, man, this is a altering moment for life, for history, maybe for America, maybe for the world. Um I feel like there were tons of metaphors in here that I really couldn't dissect, and that's to me that I like that challenge, man. I can't wait to get in here and try to start picking apart what they were saying he meant by some of these. I heard him name drop a few times, right? We had Lennon in there, of course, Helter Skelter in reference to I assume the Beatles song, or there was the thing with Charles Manson with his stuff. Um, you had the reference on there about talking about how the marching band they wouldn't yield, they wouldn't give the field back to the players. That gave me an idea of like they're keeping the music alive, right? They're not willing to bend what the marching band is. Their purpose is to perform that music. But the whole presence of this song we're talking about, the music died the day that that music died, man. But you've got these people maybe kind of talking about like protesters, people who aren't willing to back down, they're not yielding. These are the saviors of the sound, man. The music that must be played. Maybe the players are the politicians, the cops. I don't know, man. My mind was kind of going everywhere with the song about what these meanings could be, and that's the juicy bits of it. Is like, what are we talking about? Want to find out? All right, so we're gonna dissect this just a little bit, man. They've got three versions of this song. Of course, we did the LP version here, man. This was released October 1971. On this one, you've got folk rock listed as a genre up there. It says Don McLean drew inspiration for the song from his childhood experience delivering newspapers during the time of the plane crash that killed early rock and roll musicians Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper. I have a Buddy Holly reaction here. I've listened to Richie Valens before. Of course, I think if you're in Texas, like Tequila. He's got some other big hits. I think Donna, oh Donna, man, with that one. That's so good. That is a great song. And then the Big Bopper, I'm not familiar with the Big Bopper. So we've got Don McLean saying, I first found out about the plane crash because I was a 13-year-old newspaper delivery boy in New Rochelle, New York, and I was carrying the bundle of the local Stranded Star papers that were bound in twine. And when I cut it open with a knife, there it was on the first page, the front page. So he found out as a young boy through the newspaper, through his job of delivering these newspapers, he got the terrible news about this plane crash that took the lives, and something we probably have seen all too often in history, man, is musicians dying in plane crashes and stars, big inspirations in the world, man, dying through plane crashes. It happens all the time, and it's something serious, man. It happens, it strikes stars all the time. McLean reportedly wrote American Pie in Saratoga Springs, New York City, at Cafe Lena. But a 2011 New York Times article quotes McLean as disputing this claim. Some employees at Cafe Lena claim that he started writing the song there and then continued to write the song in both Cold Springs, New York, and Philadelphia. McLean claims that the song was only written in Cold Spring and Philadelphia. Tin and Lin. So over here, the other part was kind of just about where he was writing this stuff. Right here, it's breaking down a little bit about what commenters have said that they got from this idea here. It says that some commenters identified the song as outlining the darkening of cultural mood as over time the cultural vanguard passed from Pete Seeger and Joan Baez, the king and queen of folk music, they call them, then from Elvis Presley, known as the king of rock and roll, to Bob Dylan, the jester, who wore a jacket similar to that worn by culture icons James Dean. Man, I mean, if this is all what it was, these breakdowns, man, Don McLean was seriously doing some crazy metaphorical writing on this one, dude. That is like that's impressive stuff, man, to write and make these connections with aliases almost, right? Nicknames that people are sitting here and dissecting and breaking down about what he could have meant and who he was talking about. So it was known as James Dean was known as the voice of his generation, a voice that came from you and me, as he wrote it in the song, and whose motorcycle accident in a cast left him in reclusion for many years, recording in studios rather than touring. To the Beatles, John Lennon punned with Lennon and the quartet. Although McLean has stated the quartet is a reference to other people. The Byrds, who wrote one of the first psychedelic rock songs, 8 Miles High, that I caught that one in that song, 8 Miles High. I immediately thought he must be talking about the Byrds. And then fell fast. The song was banned, and one of the group entered rehabilitation, known as a fallout shelter. The group declined as it lost most members, changed genres, and alienated fans. Then he goes on with the Rolling Stones, who released Jumpin' Jack Flash and their Satanic Majesty's Request. So that's where he's talking about Jack Flash and Satan, the devil, and used Hell's Angels, Angels Born in Hell, as event security with fatal consequences, bringing the 1960s to a violent end. And he even mentions Janis Joplin, according to these guys, the girl who sang the blues but just turned away. She died of a heroin overdose. Dude, I mean, dude, all of these connections, that is brilliant writing. If this is true, this breakdown makes sense to me. Of course, I wasn't in the time, but I've become familiar with some of these names, some of these songs. And I get this, man. It makes sense the way they really broke down his lyrics and dissected this. That is impressive. Really impressive. And thinking that the Holy Trinity is talking about Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and JP the Big Bopper Richardson. It says up there that could be the reference to the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. It also been speculated this song contains numerous references to post-World War II American political events, such as the assassination of John F. Kennedy, known as Jack, First Lady, referred to as his widowed bride, and the subsequent killing of his assassin, who courtroom trial obviously ended as a result adjourned. The Cuban Missile Crisis, Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. The murders of civil rights workers James Chaney, Andrew Goodman, and Michael Schroeder, and elements of culture such as sock hops, kicking off shoes to dance, preventing damages to varnished floors, cruising with a pickup truck, the rise of the political protest song, a violence that came from you and me, drugs and the counterculture, the Manson family, and the Tate LaBianca murders. Man, he just put so much. I could get the sense with his writing, obviously, that a lot of this is just hidden. The message is hidden in there for you to dissect, man. He didn't make it so crystal clear, and that's the beauty about writing, is it takes some homework. Sometimes it takes you to understand the events of a generation, of an era, and you've got to do your homework. And that's some of my favorite writing too, is on a first listen, you're not going to be able to grasp everything that's being said, man. You have to do some homework sometimes, and for some people they're not going to do it. And there's probably many people who've listened to the song and haven't thought too deep about it. but I could tell on my first listen, this is deep content that he is talking about here. Like, this is seriously some deep stuff. So they asked Don, they said, when asked what American Pie meant, McLean jokingly replied, "It means I don't ever have to work again if I don't want to," assuming he made so much money, so much filthy money from this song that that was what he was saying. I don't have to work anymore. But he later stated, "You'll find many interpretations of my lyrics, but none of them by me. Sorry to leave you all on your own like this, but long ago I realized that songwriters should make their statements and move on, maintaining a dignified silence." And there are so many artists who live and die by that. They have a meaning when they write it, and they leave it up to you to figure out what it means for you, what you think they meant, and they move on. They literally move on. One of my favorite writers in my genres of music, of course, Zach De La Rocha. Um, he does the same thing. I mean, he'll write stuff, and sometimes he doesn't give explanations for what it meant, and that's perfectly fine. And that means that anyone's guess is as good as the next. It can all be valid. Okay, so I know might be people watching the video right now that want to discredit any and even all of this, but literally you can't. You can't. It's just your opinion, and this is their opinion, and it makes sense. It makes perfect sense to me. So it's all just opinion based, and that's what the writer intends, and I respect that wholeheartedly. I think that's great. All right, so for me to learn just a little bit right here about Don, before I head off, his name is Donald McLean, I guess the third, and he does folk rock genres. He was active, or still is active, I should say, from 1964 to present day. He does vocals and guitar, and he is currently at the age of 78, hailing out of we said New York. All right, so he's out of New York here, man. Fantastic, dude. I really liked on this song how the instruments built up as well. You got the acoustic vocals, piano, but then you ended up getting the bass and other things that kicked in right along with it. So just really great all around. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed rocking here with me and tuning in. Really great sound here, really great song. If you enjoyed the reaction, please don't forget to like, subscribe, check out the descriptions down below for other ways you can help the channel, including becoming a member here on my YouTube, on my Patreon, and even doing donation requests if you so choose. All that is down in the descriptions below. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'll see you on the next one. All right. Peace.